Excuse me, sir. I would like to film my podcast. Can you, nope, yep, maybe, move, maybe. Okay, you can do it on my lap. You wanna do it on my lap? You can do it on my lap.
You're tuned in now to this pickleball life. I'm K-Dubs and Jilly B is my wife. She's the pro and I've got the filler. She's sweet to me, but on the court she's a killer. Unadulterated and efficiently bringing you the best and worst things in PB. Tell your friends and stay for another. And no one loves us more than your mother. One thing's for sure, one hit and you're addicted. Grab a pile, grab a court, don't resist it. So click subscribe, let's go, let's get cracking. Themesong done, let's go, let's get laughing. This pickleball life.
Yo, what up, PB Lifers? It's your girl, Jilly B.
And your girl, K-Dubs.
And welcome to part 2 of Recovery Den. It's episode 11, and where's our rhyme?
It's recovery heaven.
That was good.
Although you and I are in recovery hell right now.
We are in recovery
We're going to get to
hell.
that in a minute.
So today's podcast is all about can you handle the heat, baby? Hot versus cold therapies and our next 5 recovery devices for all things pickleball injuries and recovery. And before we hop into it, we have some exciting news. This is the month, actually 4 months of giveaways. That's right. If you're subscribed to us on YouTube and you're subscribed to Jilly B Pickleball on Instagram, aka following me on Instagram, you are going to be eligible for super cool giveaways like Mizuno tennis shoes.
And did you change something about your appearance today?
You mean my sunglasses
Is
in the
it too
90-degree
hot
sunshine
for
of the
the
desert
sunshine?
indoors? That's right. I am wearing Gooder sunglasses. These are also part of the giveaway. These are $25 slip-free, fun, lightweight, amazing sunglasses. And what else are we giving away, K-Dubs?
Oh my gosh, we've got recovery devices of our favorite brand, Proband, for both knees and elbows. And they also have some cool squishy ball toys that go hand in hand.
That's the technical term, squishy ball toys. We also have Storm energy drink.
Oh yeah,
Storm's
baby.
a-comin', baby. And we've got, of course, PB Goods products. That's right, PB Good. Oh my God, I said it wrong.
Goods from PB Gods.
Goods from PB
Good
Gods.
Good God, they're good. They're gooder, but they're PB Gods. Yes, and we just dropped our 4th of July collection. So get out your red, white, and blue and get geared up for the summer in your PB Gods pickleball themed products. They are some of my favorites for one of my favorite holidays, if not favorite.
We could do a deep dive on why 4th of July is your favorite holiday, but we'll have to
very
save that
ironic.
for episode number 12.
So with that, do you wanna catch the listeners up a little bit on the irony of our recovery pod split and the shenanigans that occurred this week between episodes 1 and 2 of our recovery den?
Yeah, we've never felt more hypocritical talking about recovery and
or
apropos, practicing what we're preaching in terms of recovery and pain-free pickleball. And so Kristin had a very unfortunate accident on the courts.
Yeah, one man's unfortunate is just playing with fire. Again, theme of the pod, heat, heat, heat. I have been playing with fire for like the entire time I've played pickleball. I've had a torn ACL. So long story short, I've accelerated the need for surgery, let's just say. And I think it's just one of those things where I've known I could do more damage while I'm out there, even in a brace, even warming up. But I think I also tore my meniscus now.
Kristin's been playing pickleball, for those of you that don't know, for 3 years without an ACL.
Yes.
And if she were a little bit more diligent, but again, maybe this is for a different pod with your recovery exercises and strengthening, maybe you wouldn't have to do surgery, but we'll never know. And now you've maybe torn your meniscus in addition to your ACL.
Lesson to be learned. PT for every day. Like, everyone has something they should be probably doing PT on. So after 3 years of basically hoping it would last me another 40, I always said, I just want to play pickleball like I'm 70 for 40 years. But I think I've now actually torn my meniscus as well. And the only way I was able to walk around the house was basically like a cave woman. A little bit of like a duck walk, like a modified duck walk. Like I can only walk if my knees are bent. It's very strange, but it's a little more pain-free since it happened on Saturday. But I'm definitely going to be scheduling an MRI and probably getting under the knife in the next couple weeks. So no more pickle for KW for 8 to 12 months.
Yay, you get to focus even more on my pickleball. Yay.
But do you want to expand on that or talk about any other recovery ironies of the week?
I woke up with like random crazy neck pain where I can turn right, left, look backwards, and if I look down, I'm in trouble. So saw a chiropractor. I'm going to see my girl again tomorrow. And I've just been trying to practice what I preach, which is
when you say your girl, you mean the ART girl, right?
I'm going to be seeing Dr. Cynthia.
Cynthia.
If you guys are not following Dr. Cynthia, the pickleball doctor on Instagram, what are you even doing? Because she is really the oracle and the source of all truth when it comes to recovery and pickleball. And we're going to be talking a lot about her on this podcast. So it did give us a great opportunity to practice literally everything that we are preaching in today's pod. Yeah. So without further ado, should we hop into number 1 of this pod and number 6 in total? If you missed last week's pod, rewind and check out the top 5. And we're getting into the next 5 right now.
So number 6 and 7 are something we feel goes best together. So we're going to cover them at once. And that is kinesio tape and creams, often called KT tape, or as Jill likes to point out, the Kleenex of tapes, because most people just say KT tape. That brand just clicked on in there. Mm-hmm. But what's great about KT tape is that ability to bring awareness, right?
Right.
It seems like such a little coverage of an area, and you're like, I'm just taping my skin. How can it have such a influential, positive impact on my healing? It's not as thick as a brace, but it's the neurons in your skin that basically are sort of fired up to pay attention, right?
I'm obsessed, like absolutely obsessed with KT tape and Healy tape, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And to look at this macro even a little bit further, I think the biggest threat to pickleball right now isn't even courts, it's pickleball injuries.
Exactly.
And we said on the last pod that every time a new player enters the sport, an orthopedic surgeon gets a new boat. And in fact, we did have that validated for us when we in fact had our friend who's an orthopedic surgeon over for lunch the other day, and he did say these exact words: pickleball is the best thing to happen to my business since
CrossFit. Pickleball and CrossFit do share that same reverse Fight Club mentality where you must tell everyone and get everyone to do it. And it's amazing. I wish we could invent something that wildfire.
And I think while the whole entire universe appears to be moving towards cold therapy, cryo, ice plunges, plunge pools, tangentially, if I hear one more person buying like an $8,000 box to take an ice bath in their backyard, I'm gonna laugh to death. If you have a tub,
it's like the reverse jacuzzi.
It's a reverse jacuzzi. If you have a tub in your house, just freeze big bottles of water in your freezer and throw them in the tub. And I just saved you $8,000. Last episode, Kristin saved you 15 minutes, and I just saved you $8K. My Venmo's JC Braver.
Let's
contribute what you want. I digress. Here's a hot take, a contradictory take, pun intended. While everyone seems to be moving towards ice therapies, I want to think about all things heat and what this has to do with tape and KT tape, especially Healy tape, for instance. It combines menthol. And you get that like tingling, I don't want to say burning, but like warming sensation. And when you look at rock sauce, which I love, which is meant to be used with the KT tape, it has capsaicin, a very small dose of capsaicin and menthol.
If you don't know, capsaicin is what happens inside of peppers, spicy peppers. That's the actual spicy part.
And your body's getting that awareness brought to it, that warmth, that tingling sensation. And you look at the other side of the spectrum, and our orthopedic surgeon friend who was just over talked a lot about a product called Voltaren. And that's essentially
Voldemort, right?
Voldemort. It's Voldemort's numbing cream. Very good, Kristin. And it recently went off patent. Is that what you say? Like when something goes generic, it went off patent?
Oh, I think that is the correct.
So it's this super powerful anti-inflammatory gel, and I think it off brand. It's called like Diflican, and you can literally get it online on Amazon for $13. It's an inflammatory gel, anti-inflammatory gel that is for arthritis, but I've been using it on my bicep, on my knee, and it's pretty miraculous stuff, but it is that like numbing sensation. And I think I just naturally prefer the menthol of the Healy tape, the capsaicin and the rock sauce. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, if you take the like very popular Aloe MD's cream or
Ultimate
the
Repair
CBD cream, we have a lot of times they'll combine those with another kind of mint, menthol, some kind of tingly spray, and in combination, it's all about kind of making you feel like you're feeling it quicker, I think, where we're all impatient and, you know, the cream has to work through our, you know, layers of skin probably, but having that smell and that feel of tingles, you're like, oh, something must be happening.
Well, and a fun little byproduct of the Healy tape, since there is that mint, that menthol in it, apparently mint and catnip are pretty closely related to each other. So if you're not watching this pod on YouTube, you will be missing out on some real live imagery and video of my cat going nuts, licking me, pawing at me when I'm wearing my Healy tape.
Totally. Byproduct. Cats love it.
Humans will too.
So cream and KT tape. What first, what second? It seems counterintuitive to think that the cream isn't going to cause the KT tape
rock sauce is built for rock tape, KT tape. And that's really cool because like the Voltaren that I use, if I try and put any type of tape on top of that won't work. But then what's neat is the Healy tape, right? Combines it all into one.
Yeah. So what we also love to combine with creams is the Dr. C scraper too.
Yes.
Which should be number 7B.
7B.
It's a triple, but getting a little bit of cream in there just helps the scraper go across your fascia, which can be a little bit jarring at times because you're basically like going across like asphalt of muscles almost, and the cream helps kind of smooth it out. So lots of different uses of creams, and it's good to see these therapeutic creams supporting pickleball. A lot of them are out there at the tournaments. And
absolutely. If you haven't tried Ultimate Repair X, formerly Aloe MD,
right? Brand change.
Huge supporter of the PPA tour. Lots of pickleball players believe in it. Kristin uses it. I've used it a little bit. And I would love to hear from y'all at home. Like what
are your favorites?
Creams, tapes, tools, tips are helping you elongate your pickleball career and optimize your performance. If we're not mentioning it on the pod, let us know. Spread the word.
We all know Jill's real favorite cream is SPF.
That is correct.
That
if
is
you did not know
1
this,
through
I
10.
definitely have a routine to my highly thick zinc titanium dioxide sunblock routine.
What is the chemical compound for SPF? Zinc titanium. Anything else to add about the creams and KT tape?
No, I think we can move on to number 8, wearable inflammatory relief devices. Say it 3 times fast.
Whiffed.
So I am wearing a wearable inflammatory relief device right now. So this is Proband. This is my Bandit. Kristin is wearing the Need It. I mean, come on. What names, right?
Yeah, I do need it.
I think there is a huge threat to pickleball called pickleball elbow, right? PE. If you think about it, a tennis grip is much thicker than a pickleball grip in many instances.
It's almost a baseball bat, maybe even thicker.
And you'll grip on top of a tennis grip. But if you think about a pickleball grip, we've got usually 4 to 4.5 inches, and we're constantly ripping off the grip, sometimes even shaving down the sides to make the grip thinner, and then just putting a really thin layer of overgrip. That's exactly what most of the pros do. So pickleball elbow and the stress on your forearm, it's probably 10 to 15% easily more intense than with a tennis racket. So anytime I can use a device like my Bandit to take stress off of my forearm, I mean, I wear it all day long, not just when I'm playing.
Absolutely. And I think while we're on that topic of prevention, in addition to the devices we need to treat these things, I had kind of an epiphany about my borderline tendonitis when I was trying to work on my backhand punch.
Yep.
And I think that combination of my wrist pronation, I think, if you're going to be technical, but really if you point your fist down to the ground, you'll feel that tension in your forearm, which is where the Bandit goes.
Yep.
Right. And just below the elbow and that muscle. But making sure that when you're playing pickleball, you're using the real tool, the paddle, right? It's so easy because the paddle is still so light, even if it's an 8.5 ounce and you've added lead tape, to not let the weight do the work. You really got to remember, just like any other tool related sport like golf or tennis, to let the weight go and to not be manipulating the paddle around.
Right.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the paddle review we're about to drop too for Master.
Absolutely.
But stay tuned for that.
And so much of these devices are intended to enhance the natural performance of your body, to expedite what your body would naturally do. So what's really cool about Proband and the Bandit and the Need It technology is it's working with your body's natural pumping mechanism to get your arm to increase and your leg and your knee blood flow naturally, to act essentially as a pumping mechanism for those parts of your body. And I love that. I love working with anything that's just harnessing the natural effects and processes of your body.
Right. And unlike a lot of our products, which you can only use off the court in recovery, you can wear the Proband and the Need It while you're playing, while you're working out,
While you're typing
stretching
on a computer.
Yeah. Keyboard, almost as bad as the sitting is new smoking. Keyboards are the new carpal tunnel device.
100%. People are like, oh, I have pickleball elbow or, tennis elbow. I'm calling it pickleball elbow. Hashtag rebrand. Lean in. And it's all because of pickleball. Well, is it also the typing? Is it also, is it a compounding effect of everything that you're doing in your life?
Totally. Do the thumbs change things versus the fingers? That might be part of it too.
Yeah, you laying in bed holding your phone and maybe you just upgraded to the next iPhone size. Like there's so many little things.
Just holding my phone, sometimes that pinky gets sore. It's so sad. So sad. Millennial problems. So was there something else you wanted to add to the wearables? Like I said, so nice how light they are. You can bring them anywhere, throw them in. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten to a court where I needed something or someone else needed something that was in my bag. Sharing is caring, where it's like straps and braces and things. They all can make a huge difference.
Well, I'm excited to talk about number 9.
This one's fun for the whole family.
It really is. At-home cupping. Okay, if you haven't tried cupping, some good news. You don't actually have to cup like it's ancient Egypt, which is where cupping originated from. And they had to actually light the cups and use fire to create the suction. And then it would get really hot and I'm sure probably burn a few people. So you can just buy, I think on Amazon, my set was like $30, full at-home cupping. And as I said, it's an ancient form of alternative medicine. It dates all the way back to ancient Egyptian, Chinese, Middle Eastern cultures. It's mentioned in one of the oldest medical textbooks in the world, the Ebers Papyrus. And it describes how the ancient Egyptians used cupping in 1500 BC. And what's fascinating about cupping is that it's not inherently obvious that it works in reverse of, say, a typical massage. So what happens in a massage? You're getting
you pushed in,
compressed. That's exactly correct. And cupping is the exact opposite. It decompresses soft tissue by using a vacuum and a suction to pull upwards.
If you've never seen someone who's been cupped, if you have ever seen someone with random red circles on their skin, a lot of times shoulders for racket sport players, but you can cup on, legs and I assume torso, back,
Oh yeah,
everything.
and you know on tour, on the pickleball tour, exactly who believes in cupping because it's really hard to miss.
Yeah, you don't hide it. Luckily, it doesn't look like anything else. Like, it's such a specific circle. It could never be from a fist or a hand.
Well, people have definitely seen my shoulder on the streets and, the mean streets of Indian Wells and have asked if I need help if my, my wife is
hitting you with
angry at me
tiny
with pickleballs.
plungers.
Yeah, tiny plungers and pickleballs.
Yeah, so basically the cups come with a tiny little nipple, if you will, that attaches to the hose, and then you squeeze this little pumping tool, and it sucks the skin up into the cup, and then you pop the little ditty off the nipple and move on to the next cup. So you have to be careful that you get nice suction, otherwise they sometimes will just pop off. But it's very freaky the first time you do it because your skin is literally getting pulled up half an inch into the cup, and you're like, am I hurting somebody, or is this really
and
how it's supposed to look?
They say that depending on the color of your bruise, like light pink to dark purple is the amount of toxins that are being pulled up and out of you.
Right, so then it's hard to tell if you've cupped enough or not enough. Is it the toxins coming out, or have I cupped too hard? But just suffice it to say that pink is not a bad color to see.
I get the deep purple.
Oh yeah. Purple rain.
The other cool thing you can do with cupping that I don't think a lot of people know, Dr. Cynthia taught me, you can move with it. So whenever she does it on my hip, she's like, all right, get up, walk around, stretch it out. And that actually helps the most. Don't ask me why, but you can move with the cupping.
Yeah, and it is amazing now that I think about it, how many of these recovery devices in one way or another have something to do with our blood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which to me just points to the fact of our bodies are amazing, and the human body is capable of doing amazing things, especially if it's encouraged, and blood goes through the entire body.
Well said.
Also can backfire. My dad actually got a rare form of blood cancer a few years ago and got really lucky that they figured out the treatment. But if you think about all the places we get trouble, your blood goes through everything. So it's right up there with lymph nodes. I'm surprised there aren't lymph node recovery devices that they've invented.
I'm just
the next
waiting
wave.
for the day where I can be more bionic than human. Formula One, all the race car drivers will say it's all about the car, and of course you have to be a great driver. Can we make that for pickleball? Can it be 95% paddle, and then I just have to make some decisions?
Hold on, they have invented a golf club that has a little plunger thing on the end, and you click a button and the ball just explodes off the face.
Yeah.
We need that for pickleball.
Just
hold the paddle out.
Esports get into pickleball, and can I sit on my couch with a remote controller?
Oh God, if it's anything like Wii tennis, you're gonna hate it.
I'm gonna be so bad. I am so bad at Wii tennis. Hurts my wrist too.
Totally. That'll give you carpal tunnel and PE. Oh man, so cupping, you got to check it out. Check
it out or buy your own at-home set, because I've been cupping for 2 years, but I always thought I had to go to my acupuncturist to get cupped, and then I was like
anyone can just pop it on.
Yeah,
and go.
Can I do this? And she's like, yes, I bought my set on Amazon. Okay, I can definitely do this.
I can Amazon. I've got that tool. What's great is that she'll still have the bruise mark from the last cup, so I know exactly where to put it. There's like a little O marks the spot, so to speak.
You're exactly correct. I never let my time between cupping go so far as to actually let the bruise heal, because then we'll never know where to put it again.
Yeah, exactly. That's when we know it's time. It's like, get it before it goes away. So number 10, are you ready for our final top 10?
I have some strong opinions on number 10.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Correct nutrition and supplements while you're on the court.
She's my vitamin slave driver over here. But
Kristin, did you take your vitamins? Kristin, did you take your vitamins? Kristin, did
by
you
the way, I
take your
have
vitamins?
not taken my vitamins yet
Is
today.
that a joke? Is that a joke for the pod? Are our PB lifers going to see Jilly B get angry?
Quick, let me take a vitamin break.
We'll be right back, taking a vitamin break.
But I mean, the obvious one, of course, is electrolytes. Most people are aware Gatorade came on the scene. We need salt. But electrolytes are more than just salt, which, of course, you're sweating out. And the basic concept being, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a lot of deep thoughts on electrolytes. I think there's been a ton of advertising around electrolyte packets and powders that are sugar-free. I don't understand this. Like, you're out on the court, you're sweating, your body needs sugar. You need sugar. So for me, I really like liquid IV. I find there's not a lot of magnesium in liquid IV. I'm super sensitive to magnesium. I already have like an upset stomach when I play. I don't need anything messing with my stomach. So a lot of this is, don't take all electrolytes at face value. Like, actually try some out, do some research. Do you want sugar? Do you not want sugar? Maybe you don't want sugar in your electrolytes, but you're going to drink something else that has some sugar. So for me, I'm also a big believer in caffeine. Like, you wouldn't believe how many of the pros are drinking coffee on the court at all times of day. Like, your body is being depleted of energy. And yes, sometimes it needs a little bit of cheap energy to get it through. And that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be clean energy. So I am sponsored by Storm Energy Drink. If you drink Celsius, stop. Storm is way better.
Yes.
And it's awesome. I don't feel jittery. I don't get the same like caffeine coffee jitters that I do when I have espresso. It's vitamins, it's minerals, and I have to have something like that after 4 hours on the court. And I have to have electrolytes that have sugar on it. So those are my pretty strong opinions. Like,
Yeah.
your body's telling you it needs something, give it to it. And I used to drink Coke actually on the court, and then I threw up at MLP in front of the doctor in the recovery den.
We'll never know the real full source of that.
Was it the concussion? Was it the Coke? Was it the
Pepto?
antacid Pepto? Or the combination of all of them?
Or just
But that was when I was like, I'm done drinking Coke while I'm playing. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
And then obviously found Storm a couple weeks later.
I think ultimately the sad thing is that companies who make products have to chase what the consumer wants. So the consumer wants the taste of very sweet, but they also think they want sugar-free. And I feel like we're a little bit caught in between two bad choices where it's like Gatorade has too much sugar and sugar-free Gatorade is way too sweet. Sugar-free things definitely try and like overdo what's absent.
Totally.
But we just need some sugar.
Yep.
Glucose is the basis of all energy, though. When you go to chemistry class in high school, it's like ATP and glucose is the whole lesson. We got to start with that.
100%. And like I said, I don't like a lot of additives or extras. So if you're like me and you think Liquid IV has too much extra stuff, I drink clear Pedialyte, and it's pretty gross. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of like drinking glue, like a watered down glue. Am I selling it well?
Honestly, Pedialyte tastes exactly like G2 to me.
It's so thick though. It's like viscous. It's a different consistency. And I get the clear one that's tasteless, which somehow, how could tasteless taste weird? But it does. And every time I buy it at the store, the checker looks really sympathetically at me and asks if I have a sick child at home, to which I invariably reply, yes, I do.
If you consider Pickleball to be my baby. Another favorite of ours that kind of falls in this camp is coconut water.
Oh, so right now, true story, and I haven't told you this, I am drinking my
secrets.
new...
We don't keep secrets from each other.
I have a secret, and that's in my PB Gods Dink Me mug. I am drinking what I have discovered to be the most delicious post-match hydration drink. Fairlife chocolate milk plus coconut water.
No
You're welcome.
way.
Here, try
That
it.
sounds so
It
disgusting.
is so good.
Oh
You
my
are
God,
going
hand it
to thank me right now. Try it in real time on the pod and say thank you.
Is there any left?
Yeah, you just got to suck hard. Come on.
Oh, you mean just the backwash? Is
You
that
have
what you left me?
So it's my backwash, coconut water, and chocolate milk.
There's literally just the chocolate milk bubbles. That's all.
How is it?
But yeah, the chocolate milk is pretty powerful, so you don't really taste
Cut
too
it.
much of the coconut water.
Oh,
True
man.
story. When I first lived here 10 years ago in the desert, I used to drink coconut water and vodka as my 5 p.m. cocktail, and I always used to say, hydrating and dehydrating at the same time.
How did you ever get out of that?
I think coconut water is sort of hard enough to find that you just like end up going with soda because it's easier.
Oh my gosh, this is like
But-
when all of my friends would come over to my house in high school, and the only like mixer that we had or anything close to it was Gatorade because I was playing competitive tennis. So it was like tequila and red
my God.
fruit punch Gatorade. What could
Totally.
go better together?
Yeah. No, and then the whole like Red Bull vodka. I wish I liked the taste of Red Bull or had Rainstorm as an option when I was in college because I was like that girl falling asleep at 11 p.m. and everyone was trying to go downtown. We digress.
That was a tangent. We digress. I do.
So how
wanna
much
say
vodka do you drink on the court?
None. There are some pros that do, though. Quell the nerves. I want to talk cramping because I think there's a lot of misinformation around cramping. So Dr. Cynthia has super changed my life in regards to cramping. Every time it gets hot, invariably I will indeed cramp, no matter how much pickle juice I drink or pepperoncini juice when times get tough and I'm desperate and that's all that's in the fridge. No matter how many electrolytes. And something she told me that has completely changed my life, and since then I really haven't cramped, at least to the full extent that I used to, was it's not the electrolytes you're putting in your body, you're getting really hot. And she's right, I don't sweat a lot, so my head gets really hot. And she said, if you can cool yourself down, bring 2 small frozen bottles of plastic water bottles with you to your tournaments, and in between matches, hold them in your hands. And if you can keep your hands cold and your head cold, it's really difficult for you to cramp, assuming it's not an electrolyte issue, which for me it is not. And she is totally right. So I have found ever since really focusing on making sure that I don't get too hot, that my cramping has stopped.
It's basically the reverse equivalent of what you do in a snowstorm. Put on a beanie and mittens. We need the ice on your head, ice on your hands.
Oh my god!
Someone should invent that.
Ice gloves.
Ice gloves.
Kristen.
Oh my
we
God,
did
finally.
it. Finally.
Retirement
Guys,
plan.
We're retiring. This was the last pod. We are inventing ice hands.
Icy hands.
Oh,
We
I
said
think
this
we're gonna
whole
get sued by
episode
icy
was
hot. Icy hands.
We said this whole episode was about heat, and now we know it was all a ruse.
Well, it was all a
It's about
ruse.
ice.
We're trying to actually divert everyone's attention from ice to heat so that we can own the icy hands market.
Totally.
Totally.
We're going to talk a little bit about how heat and ice work in tandem in a sec. But yes, the cramping is definitely a pervasive problem in pickleball. So, do them all. Do them all. Take the electrolytes. Try and stay in the shade. And if you really have a bad problem with it, get those icy water bottles in your
Get
cooler
cold.
and hold on.
Get cold. And I know it's possible because I was playing in 90, 95 degrees at the last 2 years ago PPA Masters, and I just forced myself to get cold, and it worked.
Yeah. And prior to that, the Newport event where you were in the finals or semis against Leia, and it
singles,
was
yep.
like all on the line, and then that whole third set was basically
I couldn't move.
all about the cramping. So some honorable mention devices that we did not put in the top 10, but resistance bands and stretchy things, as I like to call them.
Stretchy
But
things. That's the technical
there's
term.
there's the TheraTube thing that I fixed my my arm with a couple months ago. There's all of the stretchy
My magic circle.
ankle bands.
Cannot live
Magic
without my
Circle.
magic circle.
We did talk about your new hip device that tractions you.
Ooh, Hipso.
But
Oh, so good.
The beauty of the stretchy things is, again, they're very portable and they're light. Just red light therapy in general can be really influential. Our chiropractor uses it quite a bit.
I want to say one more thing on the stretchy
yeah.
things. It's amazing how you can at-home traction yourself, like we talked about on the last episode with inversion tables. I recently got a really thick, heavy-duty stretch band that's supposed to help you with pull-ups, and I have fashioned it on my desk table, anchored there, and then I wrap it around my ankle, and I'm able to self-traction my leg. So I have a leg that's usually about
shorter.
Half an inch shorter, and so I'll sit there and traction my leg, and
it needs to remember you're 5'9", not 5'8.5".
Exactly. Thank you. And that's worked miracles. So, if you take anything from this pod, it's get creative.
Yeah, totally. Lots of different multifaceted ways to use things. Red light therapy, as I just mentioned, and then all the heat. We've got saunas, we've got steam rooms, we've got going out in the desert sun. I mean, I'm a person who, when I leave an air-conditioned restaurant and I go back outside to the heat, it's like such sweet relief, and I feel like that's your body saying, like, yes, we are 98.6 degrees. Get me to that. So we don't always want to be cold.
Yep.
But yeah, getting heat, obviously, back to blood. It just helps everything move.
I'd like to give an honorable mention to cortisone shots, which might seem anathema to everything we've just discussed on this podcast with like very homeopathic therapies that bring blood, that make you feel. Here's cortisone, basically the single largest injection of like pure anti-inflammation product in the world,
right,
that you put into yourself, and it does alleviate pain. And I just want to say, like, there is a time and a place for it. Like, it has saved my life on 10 different occasions in 5 different areas of my body, from my wrist to my shoulder, to my knee. Like, it's a godsend. And I think that if you are struggling with something at home and you have tried everything, I wouldn't be scared of this. Like, I just wouldn't. And I have friends that are like, I would never put a cortisone. I would never do that. And I'm like, well, never say never. You've been in pain for like 4 years, and it's not surgery you need, and you've tried everything else.
Right. So that's my question. I personally have never been in a situation that cortisone came into my life. I don't know if there was an injury I could have used it for, but what kinds of injuries does cortisone work best for? It seems like it's always in, like, elbows, joints, and shoulders and things where is it?
I mean, my mom has had it in her hips. I've had it in my wrists. Like I said, I've had it in my shoulder. I've had it in my knees, both of them. Like, it's just pure anti-inflammation it's pain killing. It's pain numbing, right? It's been a lifesaver for me. I think when it becomes a crutch, like you hear someone saying, I get them every 3 months in my wrist.
Yeah. Or like, I have to go to 2 different doctors because the one who gave me the first one won't give me another one for 6 months.
That's my mom. Let's not name names on the podcast.
I've heard other people doing that, but yeah.
No, I think that it can really easily be abused. And I think my message is more for people who haven't tried it and they're struggling with something. Those who've tried it, you know exactly the good stuff. You know what you're getting. You don't need any more advice to go out and try it.
No, I'm curious. Yeah, comment on the pod if you're a big fan or a bad case of cortisone, because I feel like it's one of those things that's...
The one thing I will say about cortisone, and a lot of people do not know this, is it is hyper operator dependent.
Yeah. It's like, oops, they missed.
The injector really, really matters. Are they using an ultrasound? Are they a good doctor? Like, it's scary, right? Like, my brother's an interventional cardiologist, and he says only 10% of anyone in any profession is truly exceptional. That includes doctors. Like, that includes chiropractors. It includes bankers. Like,
as they say, what do you call a doctor who got C's on all his exams?
A doctor.
I would say still consider cortisone a bit of a last resort when you've explored all PT and you've explored all other options. But if you're there, then it can be a lifesaver.
Agree.
It should never be your first choice. So I think worth talking about basically today's conversation with Dr. C, the cycle of when to do what as we come off the court and we're feeling sore or we're feeling the pains of a chronic injury. Talk to us about what to do first and what to do last.
So this is how I treated my neck and upper back today. I am fortunate enough to have a jacuzzi, so I did turn that on. I don't usually actually because gas is expensive in California. I'm moving to Texas. No, I'm just kidding.
Also, what is the difference between a jacuzzi and a bathtub?
Right. So I think Dr. Cynthia wanted that jet pressure and that circulation and that water movement. But basically, take a hot bath or apply some form of heat. You can use a heat pad. I talked about on the last episode how much I love those disposable, portable heat sticky majiggers. That's the technical name.
Yeah.
So we did heat, then I immediately did ice, then we used rock sauce and scraped the area, then we cupped it, then we taped it. If you're listening at home and you're like, you're a pro athlete, you've got time for all this stuff, like I hear you, but I also look back at when I was sitting in a chair working 14 hours a day in tech and in the corporate world, and I wish I would have spent way more time on my body and taking care of myself. Just because I'm a pro athlete doesn't mean I should have ignored keeping my body strong.
It kind of gets back to the whole
healthy
analogy of the sleep thing. Mm-hmm. It's like you think you're using your time instead of sleeping, but your time is more effective if you're effective. So everything that you can spend time on to make yourself
you're a better
more
person,
efficient
pain-free.
as a human.
You're a happier person. You're a better wife, husband, mother, father, friend, colleague, boss. Like
10 minutes
like the sleep thing, like
on recovery can sometimes be like gaining 3 hours.
100%
efficiency is all 100%. Yeah.
So, Kristin, did you have some by the numbers?
Yeah.
It's better when you do it.
Well, luckily we have the actual recorded version.
Thank
but
goodness.
It's by the numbers. By the numbers.
It all sounded the same
Works
to me
better
because I'm
when
tone
I have
deaf.
my voice doubled, but yeah, we're gonna hear it again. By the numbers. By the numbers. So this by the numbers is about gym usage, which, as we all know, January rolls around, everyone decides they want to be healthier, they join a gym, they go to the gym in January, it's crowded, you can't get on a treadmill to save your life, and you're like, who are these people? Come February, they're all gone. But the truth is, gym usage has been skyrocketing, basically. Like, it has become such a normalized part of people's lives compared to, say, 2010. We are now at a place where 25% of Americans are going to the gym semi-regularly, and 49% of those people are going at least twice a week. Now, 6.3% never use their gym membership. Wow. But I feel like it's less than I would have thought. Like, people actually have made it a habit, and it's like, I think now such a like Instagram and show your best self kind of world that it's less about like, I'm going to the gym to get strong, and more just like, who are you if you don't go to the gym? And there's nothing more powerful for human beings
what's interesting
as social animals.
This statistic, an astonishing 27 million people visited the gym 100 times or more in 2019. That 25% surge since 2010.
Yeah.
That's not even including people like me who like gym at home.
Totally.
Right?
Right.
Or is it?
Right. Or people like me who just like chase a ball.
You don't count. You're not in this.
I'm in that other 73%, 75%. But people on average keep their gym memberships for almost 5 years. So that's not for nothing. And I think if I were to oracle anything, it will kind of swing the pendulum the other way now, especially probably with COVID. These stats were right prior to COVID. But I think both people will be doing more at-home gym and more at-home school in the next 10 years.
You know what I say
people
about
are going to just be doing their life.
You know what I say about local California legislation that requires all Californians utilize their garage as a gym,
As a gym.
and park their cars
Cars
in their
on the
driveway
street.
or on the street.
Yes, we gotta-
So that's a law in California. If you don't know, now you know.
Well, they always say it's ironic, right, that you park in the driveway and drive in the parkway. So now we're going to start calling the highway the gym way. The garage way? Not sure how that would go. But point being, work from home, gym from home, school from home, Netflix from home. We're basically just never going to leave our houses.
I'm going to invest more in real estate.
Or technology? I don't know. Where do we go? Well, that was our by the numbers, and we have just enough time for Dear Jilly B. Okay. This question comes from Scott, one of our avid listeners and commenters.
Hey,
Thank you, Scott. Dear Jilly B, any insights into which court surface vendor will emerge as the leader in the evolving indoor mall court market? Ms. Oracle Z. Thanks for including me, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. This is an interesting question. I'll be honest with you that I'm going to give you my gut reaction, and then I want to do a little bit more research on this and answer it more in depth next week. So I will answer this by saying, when I was talking to the CEO of Lifetime, a brilliant guy named Bahram Akradi, he said, any Tom, Dick, and Sally can make money right now opening a pickleball center in an abandoned warehouse and painting the lines. Well, that's not going to cut it. I'm building courts for five years down the road. So it might cut it now, but it's not going to cut it 5 years down the road. So I guess what I'm trying to say in answering your question is, I think it depends on who is going to these malls. Is it just families who are replacing movie night and who would have went to a mall and eaten at Red Robin, and now they're doing something like active and fun? Then I'd say, I think that company, they sponsor the PPA, they're called like Sport Court, right? Isn't that what they're called?
Pickle roll?
No. I'm going to talk about pickle
Oh,
roll.
okay.
but
The
this
puzzle
is-
pieces one.
Yeah, it's like, plastic almost. And I'm sorry.
I think Sport Court is like the tissue. It's like the generic term. I don't know if it's the brand.
No, I think the brand is literally called Sport Court. We'll
Okay.
go
Yeah.
look this up. And it's that really like cheap feeling plastic material. I played on it when I was at Fox and Friends, and they set it up right in Times Square, like literally outside the studios. It was really cool.
Super fun.
So like, is that enough for the general public? Because that's super cheap, like crazy cheap. And maybe these malls, Scott, are like 50% that, because your average consumer or the average player that's going to the mall doesn't care. And then is there 50% or even less that's pickle roll? So I'm sure you know all about pickle roll. It rolls out kind of like you would like cut carpet, right? And I wouldn't say it's easy to assemble, but it's mobile. It's cheaper than actual laying of concrete and painting of lines. I think that we're probably going to see an in-between of like pickle roll that like actually plays like a great court, and then this plastic sport court. There's probably going to be something in between that I think wins in the mall space.
The beauty of the pickle roll and the sport court is easy in, easy out. So you can convert a space for like a concert venue and then back to pickleball. If you're really like, this is going to be a permanent place, then there are obviously permanent paint solutions, but it's nice that we have the variety.
Yeah, and I just wonder if Bahram's right, and like, yeah, that'll work now, maybe for the next 5 years, and then after that, people are going to be developing this more evolved palette for surfaces than that which exists now. I think he's probably right. I think that'll fly for another 5 years.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be competition.
Well, and I think there will be lanes. You know, there will be the people who are still buying the $40 Amazon paddles, and there will be people who buy 4 $250 paddles a month.
Yeah. So Scott, I mean, I'd be curious, obviously, you know a little bit about this topic too, you know, what you think. Let us know.
Yeah. I did mention to our friend Pat a little bit about, you know, we were going to talk about this, and he was saying that he finds that the average court conversion costs 20 to 25K.
Yeah, correct.
Each court. So
Each tennis court. For 4 pickleball
for 4 courts.
That's correct.
Actually, it's funny because I went for the clarification and he didn't respond.
Well, I can tell you that's correct.
Yeah, because I thought it was like 5 to 10. But
No, it's more
if
than
you're
5
in
to
a
10.
backyard, it's probably closer to like
15.
15 to actually do the
Yeah, I think
flat.
our friends who just built a court in their backyard was closer to 15.
So,
And that's not a sustainable number when you're going into malls.
yeah.
So I don't think so.
Was there anything else you wanted
I
to
did
add
want to say
from
one
the
more
Acrotech
thing.
conversation?
Yeah, I did want to say one more thing on the topic of court surfaces. If you play pickleball, you need to hear this. I think this is really, really important and not talked about enough. I carry 2 pairs of shoes
Yeah.
at all times. So one will be a little bit newer and one will be worn down, like almost to the point where you'd be like, are you really playing these? And I call those my tournament shoes, because when we play these tournaments and they're on resurfaced fresh courts, there's like nothing more dangerous than those like ultra sticky, tacky, brand new surfaces. I call those the ACL tearing surfaces, like the Widowmaker. The ACL Widowmaker is essentially
Totally.
what these courts are. And you just have to be so careful. So I'll wear like my really beat up shoes on those because I want my leg to
You want some slide.
I want to slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to. The worst thing is to put on a new pair of shoes, get on a new surface, and your knee has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
It's awful. So if you're listening to this, think about what you're wearing on what surface. I think it does make a big difference for injury prevention. And if you're like Jilly B, I play on like my cruddy municipal public courts. Like, sorry, I'm not sophisticated enough. That's actually important too. So you're playing on really slick, fast courts. Don't let your shoes get super worn out. Like, be a little bit more vigilant than on when you need a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. So no
Like, that's
grip on
the
grip.
easiest
You
way
either
to
want
prevent injury. Literally,
worn in
your
courts
shoes.
or worn in shoes.
Your shoes.
Yeah,
Your shoes are the
totally.
easiest way to prevent injury.
And just for anyone wondering, I did not tear my ACL playing pickleball. It was skiing.
Skiing
but-
backwards, watching me, giving me advice. It's
Yeah,
always
at
when
slow
you're doing
speeds.
something slow.
Yes. So make sure that, but yeah, we do have a friend who tore their ACL at Nationals, which
know,
is
brand new court.
brand new courts. So whenever
And she
you're
was
on brand new
probably
courts,
like wearing brand new shoes, super excited to like, you know, like, oh, I'm going to do everything right.
Yeah.
It's like, no, get out your pair with holes in
old.
it.
Yeah, seriously.
I know.
Rather have a blister than a torn ligament.
Speaking of shoes, I get asked this all the time. Mizuno makes tennis shoes. Obviously, that's pickleball too. And they're called, I think, the Wave Court 5. They are incredible. I was using the Asics Gel Resolution 8s, which I thought were like the lightest shoes on the market. The Mizunos put those to shame. I could sleep in mine. They are so darn comfortable.
Super, super comfy. They are, without a doubt, like catching on like wildfire. Every time I go play pickleball, I see more players using them.
Yep. People really like
they
the
have the
Babolat
cage.
shoe. I can't speak for that. I haven't tried it, but I do see a lot of pros wearing it. I can speak personally for the Mizunos, which I switched to after Nike, of course, retired the Vapor X, the best shoe that they ever made.
So funny.
And whatever model they replaced it with is just awful. So, yeah, I'm a huge believer in the Mizunos.
Yeah, so they've got a little bit of that kind of plastic or rubber cage on the outside for support, but it's flexible in a way
So
that like
good.
the Nike ones that tried to come out a couple years ago weren't, and just really comfortable backs too. I found a lot of tennis shoes kind of poke you in
Yeah.
the Achilles or like the area around your Achilles,
Yeah,
and
and
these are
kind
really
of go out. And
yeah,
away
they
from
have
you.
that slant,
Curve.
but they're still supportive. So some lucky winners are gonna go home with some super sweet shoes,
Yep.
among other opportunities. All right, so our next Dear Jilly B comes from Rich B. What is the quickest way to establish a DUPR? I'm a 4-5 tennis player, been playing PB for 3 months, but it's been in clinics and some random open play. I feel like I'm probably about a 3.75, but if I try and enter a 3.5 tournament, how do I justify it?
This is so funny.
Are there rating clinics, and where do you go to get rated?
I always say the worst bracket to play in a tournament is 3-5 because you end up with every Rich B in
Yeah.
that bracket because they're like, well, I've never played a tournament before. But I may have played like D2 collegiate tennis. It's
Totally.
like be in 3-0 or 4-0. Like do not be in 3-5.
know,
But
it's so funny.
DUPR actually fixes that problem, and that's a really good question. So Rich, you can look for DUPR Flex Leagues in your local area.
So fun.
DUPR Waterfall Tournaments. If you've ever played a tournament on pickleballtournaments.com before, you'll have a DUPR. You could even go out in your backyard right now, play a friend, post a score. And then as of today, what I understand is DUPR just made an update where you'll have an instant rating. And then the way the algorithm works is it just gets smarter and smarter. So it'll estimate your opponent's rating if they don't have one, and it'll get more intelligent as you or your opponent go and play other people who have a DUPR. It's like a disease. Like you can get it from someone else.
Spread
you can
the
get
virus.
A DUPR from someone else. Exactly. Spread the virus. Hashtag.
Yeah. Which is also to say, share partners, split partners is like a reverse STD.
Yeah, it's a reverse STD. Spread the love.
Yeah, the
But
more
what
different
would you
people
add-
you
what
play
would
with.
you add to that, Kristin?
Yeah, the more different people you play with, the more accurate it will be, because essentially it's just looking at numbers and matchups. So if you always played with the same person, it would not be able to distinguish you. So play mixed, play.
and if you're playing-
3 guys, 1 girl, play all sorts of mixed gender, play.
Well, if you're playing random open play, like you said, just ask the players against whom you're playing, do you mind if we record this score into DUPR? And as long as you ask them beforehand and don't play the game and then you know,
Totally. Blindside them with a
Blindside them.
request, and they're like, get the
Yeah.
notification. Yeah, that's not
and
the
if
best
you
way
ask
to go
them
about it.
and you explain, hey, I'm looking to get rated, can we post these scores? They'll probably say yes, and you can
Yeah.
post those scores.
Yeah, totally. And I think speaking from both DUPR experience and personal DUPR experiences, if you don't know, Jill used to be the CEO, and I was working for the marketing department, but I have had plenty of friends who were starting their pickleball DUPR relationship, and I posted scores with people of varying degrees below me, and it affects a person like me very little, who has a ton of scores, a ton of history. That one score is very important for that new player, but affects my rating very little. So
Exactly.
don't let anyone be too nervous about it, because the more scores you have, the less it obviously influences your whole rating. So spread the love.
Well, that concludes pod number 11, Recovery Heaven.
But next week, we've got some amazing pickleball tournaments coming up in Orange County, Jilly's home county. We're going back-to-back PPA San Clemente, then same venue MLP San Clemente, and we have had conflicts every time this event has come around. We got married actually during this tournament, and so we have never been to this venue, but everyone says it's the best venue.
Yep.
So we get to double down on
And I'm
Lifetime
playing
San
with
Clemente.
Sarah Ansbury and Ben Newell. And for those
Benny
of you
New.
who do not know, my Major League Pickleball partner, Brandon French, he is out. He had
The
wrist
Tomahawk
surgery.
King.
The Tomahawk King is out. He had wrist surgery. We thought that he was going to be able to recover in time. He is not. Ben Newell, who was dropped from the Atlanta Bouncers, is in. And thankful for us that he was available, because Ben is a rock star. He is left-handed. He's sneaky. He has probably one of the best drives in the game. And
He did just take down the Ben Johns 3 weeks ago at Newport Beach.
at the OGO Newport Beach, Ben Newell beat Ben Johns in doubles with his partner Philip Locklear against Ben and his partner Colin Johns. And I can't wait to see everything crazy MLP holds. We have to win in order to make it to the super finals. That's how I understand it. And in addition to that, we need some other teams to not do so well.
I always say it's best to focus on what you can control, but in this case, there are some things out of our control, other than, kneecapping. We won't be doing. No Tanya Harding's situations, but Chicago Slice are in a solid position, and so they basically could keep you out of it even if you won. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Connor Garnett's been on a bit of a tear, but
I know, totally.
it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a great venue.
There's a lot to talk about.
Definitely
next
tune in.
Podcast. Do not miss out. I cannot wait. As a reminder, please message in your questions, comments to thispblife@gmail.com. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, Go ahead and subscribe. Same thing with following Jilly B Pickleball, because we are going to be doing amazing giveaways. Gooder sunglasses, Storm energy drinks, Proband products, and most importantly, everyone wants those Mizuno shoes.
Guts.
And PB
Don't forget,
Good.
PB Lifers is the 10% off code. Still active. And yeah, everyone wants those Mizuno shoes. Didn't mean to cut you off. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening, stay with us. And we're so lucky to have you. Thanks for your attention.
See you next time. Thank you for
Absolutely.
listening.
Bye, guys.
This Pickleball Life is a Tomahawk production, 100% organic, self-made, and homegrown. Music by K-Dubs, editing by K-Dubs and JILLYB. Check out pbgods.com and use code PBLifers for 10% off your next order. Do you have a question for Jilly B? Email us at thispblife@gmail.com to be included in future episodes. Don't forget to click subscribe.
This Pickleball Life.